It's time for the 6 at 6 on 95.7 KCMO Talk Radio. Number one.
All right, top story this morning. Trump with a statement on the situation with Ukraine yesterday. And the new statement from Donald Trump after that explosive meeting in the Oval Office read, quote, "Now, Zelensky will have no choice but to back down and accept Trump's terms." Oh, boy, he's in third-person mode. He's in third-person mode. That means he's not screwing around. But here's the genius part. Trump is actually protecting Ukraine without dragging the U.S. into war. By negotiating a minerals deal, Trump ensures Americans will be involved in Ukraine's mining industry. This prevents Russia from launching an invasion because attacking Ukraine would mean endangering American lives, something that would force the U.S. to respond. So this is what Trump was alluding to on his social media post. He's right. It's also how he started the show. Zelensky wants the U.S. to basically be the ultimate defense of the United States. And Trump has said, no, but if you allow us to do business there with this minerals deal, we will have no choice but to basically be your defense because we will have American businesses and American citizens there operating. So that's the best of both worlds for Zelensky. And either he couldn't figure that out or he's even greedier than I would have expected him to be right now. You basically get to have the American people there helping you rebuild your country, bringing money into your country, while at the same time on the back end getting basically defense from the United States by having American people and American business there. That is the best of both worlds. And that's something that I think that we will see happen likely this week.
Number two.
Now, speaking of Zelensky, after he got his butt chewed out here by Trump, he ended up going back over the pond and he met with King Charles. So he goes from alpha male to beta male King Charles over there in the UK. And the UK did also announce a loan of about $2.8 billion to support Ukraine, funded through the freezing of Russian assets. That came from their prime minister over the weekend. They also highlighted a new deal that would allow Ukraine to use $2 billion in export finance by missiles made in Northern Ireland. It's like, dude, that's also chump change compared to what we've done here. I know Trump talks about $350 billion, depending on, who you believe. It's somewhere between $180 and $300 billion that we have supported Ukraine with. And for Zelensky to screw that meeting up the way he did and then go to the UK and pose with King Charles and be like, but I got my $2 billion from the UK. It's like, bro, that's nothing. You need the heavy hitters here. And the heavy hitters are on this side of the pond, not on that side of the pond. If they were on that side of the pond, you would not have needed us to begin with. Come on, you got to be kidding me, man.
Number three.
Number three this morning for the 6 at 6. Multiple businesses, mainly in Brookside and Waldo, were broken into on Saturday night. The recent string of break-ins per Fox 4 impacted Big Chief's Kush Dispensary and Waldo Cafe. Fiddly Fig Flowers, south of the Waldo neighborhood, was also hit. So this is now a continuing problem with property crimes in and around Kansas City, Missouri proper. You are seeing neighborhoods that are just, working folks, and also nicer neighborhoods as well of people who are dealing with this, whether it's car break-ins. We know, of course, happened outside of the bar in Brookside back in, late August, early September. We know how that went down, and now we have more of this that is being reported over the weekend in Kansas City. So the new Jackson County prosecutor, Melissa Johnson, who was on the show last week, is going to have to get on it and stay on it.
Number four,
a just tragedy in Butler, Missouri. 2 children, both 2 years old, dead after an explosion and house fire in rural Butler, Missouri. First responders called to a home on Pine Street near Henry Street, just outside of city limits, at about 11:30 p.m. on Saturday night. They found the house fully engulfed in flames. 3 of the 5 people who lived there were able to get out safely, but the crews could not rescue the 2 children. Fire units arrived on scene and requested assistance from additional agencies. Both children were eventually pronounced deceased by the Bates County coroner on the scene. Just an absolute tragedy taking place on Saturday night.
Number 5.
Number 5 for the 6 at 6 here on KCMO. The Oscars were last night. I know. Oh, I know. I got to include it, right? I mean, I guess. None of these movies I have seen this year, and it was a pretty unimpressive, pretty niche list of movies that got a lot of attention. But it was Anora winning Best Picture at the 97th Academy Awards. A what? I know, you're saying the same thing as me. Did either of you guys see Anora this year?
I did not.
Nope.
Okay, all right. We're 3 for 3. If anyone had seen Anora, it could have been a deal breaker for at least our friendship, but I'm glad that we are all 0 for 3 on this.
At least we got one Wicked song for my girls.
Oh, did we
nice.
get one Wicked song last night?
Yeah, that was all right.
I turned it on for about 10 minutes. It was probably from maybe 8:45 to 9:15 I had it on. And then I said, what am I doing? I don't know any of these. Remember the days you'd watch the Oscars and they would pan to everybody and you would know them all. I'm looking at these people saying, wait, is that Steven Spielberg? I'm trying to figure out who's who around here.
Adam Sandler getting kicked out was the best part.
Oh, well, that's a low bar, but I'll take your word for it, Mark, because I missed that as well. Thank you for that. All right, let's continue.
Number 6.
The final story, I'm calling an audible. It is our third daughter, Charlotte's first birthday today. So a happy birthday to Charlotte. She turns 1 year old. It was 1 year ago that we had our third daughter, and she is the size of a 2-year-old and has the smile of a 10-year-old. I'll just say that much. She's a big old girl, growing fast, and we love her a whole lot. So happy birthday to Charlotte.